Right, so we're going to do a removal of the flywheel on this Honda MSX 125 engine. I thought I would show how to use the tools to get this off, as some people like myself would not normally be familiar with something like a flywheel puller. Obviously, if you go and look one of these up, they do suggest you get a branded one. So there's the Katako one, which obviously is designed for this, but you can simply get what I've done, which is just a generic model that's the same size. So the threading on the inside of the flywheel is M30, and this larger piece is M30. So they fit together quite well. The tools that I'm going to use are the tools that I have, not necessarily the tools that you should use to get this off. So for example, I don't have a proper mechanics impact driver. I have a woodworking one, but I've had this for nearly 10 years, and it's fantastic. I haven't had any issues with it. It may not have the torque required to do, like, actually torque things up, but that's not something I use it for. I normally use it for loosening things. So what we're going to need to do to start with is undo a few things in here. So as you can see, there are some Torx heads in there. I think they're T20s. I think, but still. We're going to get those out and then get this nut off. So I think it's probably best to spin the little ones out first. So that's what we're going to do. Get those out. Obviously, the flywheel does have some rather powerful magnets in it, so the hardware will want to just kind of stick to the magnet, and that's fine. Like, that's not going to be the end of the world. Get those out. The magnet's grabbing the driver as well, which is making things a little bit difficult. Come on, just... There we go. So I can then take this off the end, pop that down, grab the 17mm, you can see there, that we need for the next bit. So I tend to leave the hardware on the inside just on this job because there is a magnet, and you're not always fortunate enough to get a magnet in a lot of these jobs. Go. So that's that off. And when you do this job, you need to make sure that you look after the hardware and install things in the exact order you took them out in. Otherwise, you can get a few issues crop up. So for example, underneath this nut, there is a washer, which is a little difficult to see because it's often magnetically stuck down as it is right now. So it doesn't want to come off. You just need to be aware that it's there. So I'm going to put the nut to one side, because we don't need that. And we are going to stick the flywheel puller on, and I'll show you how to use this. So the M30 side of it, we want to get all of those threads seated on the flywheel. It does take sometimes a second just to get them lined up, as the threads are quite fine. Are we on? There we are. So that's going down now. We want to get this down as far as it will go, which often means you have to wind this top shaft all the way out so this can go down, so you've got nice purchase, as what you'll be doing is using these bottom threads to grasp the thing, and then using the center one to push down, so you end up pulling up via those threads. So if you don't have enough threads wound on when you go to do this, you can just pull the threads up and damage them. So you've got to be careful with that. Now they do suggest using a like a spanner around the bigger side here. I don't have the exact size spanner to hand, but what I do have is one of these locking crescent wrenches. So that should be simple enough to get round to the right size there, and then pull the handle tight. And this again is a 17 to go on the top. So you want to hold this, push that, and instead of like pulling it backwards, you want to drive this down to lift this up. and as you can see there, it's lifted right the way up. So we can take the driver off, take the spanner or crescent wrench, whatever you're using, off, and take the flywheel off the shaft. There. So what you end up with is this all stays in place for you. You don't need to use this again to get the flywheel back on, but you will need to use it again if you need to take the flywheel off several times, like me, as I've made a few mistakes in this project. So I will put that to one side. The other things you've got to look out for in the case of if you're doing a Grom like me is there is a woodruff key here, and you don't want to lose that. So that little locator just there is rather important, as that lines up with, if I turn the underside of that, where is it? Can't see the camera. There you go. You can see the channel that the woodruff key goes into. So you have to make sure that you haven't lost the key inside here, because again, powerful magnets and all that fun stuff. Just make sure you know where it is, and that I've left the washer underneath this flywheel puller, so that's underneath there. And that'll be it on how to get a flywheel off. Getting back on is really quite simple. You don't have to necessarily do the same thing in reverse. You just push the thing down on there and tighten it with a torque wrench. You will have to find a way of holding things still. It helps if you have the engine in one piece, if you're going to do that. If it's still in the bike, there are a few things you can lock together with. But there's also a type of strap wrench you can use that wraps around the flywheel and gives you a handle so you can stop it spinning when you go to tighten things back down. So that's how you use a flywheel puller and get a flywheel out of an MSX 125. I'm going to do a couple more videos on deconstructing this, as I know other people will be interested on how to open their bikes, as this will be the third, maybe even fourth time I've had to have this engine open because of small mistakes that I've made. So I'm going to show you what those mistakes look like and how to rectify them. So if you're watching this on YouTube or on TikTok, obviously follow the channels either way. So I do TikTok at Pro9 Adventures, and that's all lowercase with an underscore between Pro9 and Adventures. Same handle is used for Instagram and for YouTube. It's just Pro9 with a capital P. All of that stuff is linked on the relevant pages, but my longer videos such as this one will go to YouTube as well, and if people want to watch it on TikTok, then fantastic. So I'll see you in the next video, which I'm going to make in a few minutes, and yeah, have a look at all the things I do. Let me know what you think, and if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know, because I will do my best to cover everything, especially on the MSX, because I have it in pieces almost daily, so I may as well make content that you want to see. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you in the next one.